So I hate to start a conversation with criticism. That's just the wrong way to do things. But rewatched the film this afternoon after I had already seen it some months ago as part of the screening committee. Twice now, you've made me cry. There it is. It's a lovely film.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
Um, if you would introduce yourselves and tell me a little bit about the project and how you came to it.
Sure. I'm Brian Foyster. I'm the writer and director, and I act in it. And my friend Bob Burke, Robert John Burke, is here with us. You want to say hi, Bob?
Hi, everybody. I'm Robert John Burke, and I'm an actor in the film. And Brian and I are old colleagues from back in the Roosevelt administration.
I was going to say the 1800s, but okay.
Brian and I met in, I think, August, September of 1980. And we were in the conservatory at SUNY Purchase, State University of New York at Purchase. And Brian called and said, hey, I have this project.
Yep. And basically, I didn't want to put Bob on the spot in case he didn't like the script. So I just said, hey, would you read this script? But I had him in mind for the lead opposite me. And so, but if he didn't like it, I didn't want to put him on the spot. So he read it, and then he asked me if he could play the part. So that's how we got started on it.
Now, your friendship, your collaboration goes back to the 80s, but this project, does it go back that far?
No, I started writing this during the pandemic. And I think we a year and a half ago. Yeah. But I'm during the pandemic, and I had this idea for a while. I was inspired by some old photographs from the golden age of Hollywood. And then I said, well, I got to make use of the time. And then I wrote the script. It started out at 30 pages, and then I cut it down to 15. And then we went, once things opened up again, we just went into production.
It is a profoundly sad short about opportunities missed, about love lost, but it is very much a film about what the studio system used to be like and how much control over personal lives that they had. How did you get interested in that part?
Well, it was actually a magazine spread on some. It was an actual magazine spread, and the film is not based on the actors, but on that magazine spread. So these two guys living at home together, and being eligible bachelors. So seeing that original magazine spread is where the whole idea came from.
Is that magazine the one you use in the film, the one that you sign?
No, it's interesting because I created that magazine, and Bob's son, Liam, 30 young man. They're actually father and son playing the same role. So Robert and his son Liam both live on the East Coast. I'm from the East Coast, but I had to bring Liam out twice because I had to create that movie magazine first. So we did the photo shoot by the pool and in the house. I had to create the props, so I had it during the shoot. So he came out again 2 weeks later for the rest of the shoot. But yeah, that's a prop we created.
Robert, what about Brian's project appealed to you?
Everything. It has the three elements. It's a fantastic story. It's a true story, and it's never been told. I always look for those three elements. The prospect of my son and I playing the same character at different times was just too good to be true. And it's a responsible script. Claire, you must know we're trying to get Brian to make this into like a 6-part series or a feature. It's just such a devastating story elementally.
It has heart. It has, I mean, I would love to see more of the Hollywood of that era in terms of the politics of it. As someone named McCarthy, I wouldn't mind seeing the McCarthy era being part of this story as well, if you expanded it.
Yeah.
And on behalf of McCarthy's everywhere, I just want to apologize.
Hail Gunner Joe.
Well, we have some good Irish blood going through this Q&A right here.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is the most Irish my Q&As have gotten this year. So very happy about this. The headspace, Brian, that your character is in at the end, when he has, or at least believes he has, maybe that conversation with Bob's character, was that, it was hard to watch. Was it hard to get into that space?
It was in the sense of how it is, but on the other hand, I knew that I was going to have to get there. So I really started rehearsing it and owning it in my private space ahead of time. I fully enveloped myself in all of those circumstances and the personalizations way ahead of time, so that when it came, it was a land I had lived in for a while. So, but a big part of me was like, oh my God, what if I don't get there on the day of? You know what I mean? You just never know. So it was a risk. Luckily, it was familiar enough to me that I could. And then the key was to not do it in a familiar way, you know, to do it for the first time. So that was the challenge.
In that moment, yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking to some other creators in an earlier Q&A, and they also had a really powerful emotional scene. And they were talking about how supportive the crew was that day, with the understanding that it was going to be hard to get there, and that everybody was being supportive. How big of a production was this? How big of a crew did you have?
We had about 15 people on the crew, and it was very much supportive like that too, lucky for us. And then the other thing I'll say is that having Robert on the set, you know, we're old friends, but I don't think we've ever together, have we?
Can you still hear me?
I can now, yes.
Yes.
You went away for a while, but you're back.
No, I don't think, Brian, that we ever did, except university.
Yeah. So there's this built-in trust between us because we're such good friends. But then also, you know, Robert's been working professionally for, I don't know, 35 years. And, you know, he's worked with De Niro 3 times, George Clooney twice, you know, just endless amounts of amazing sets he's been on. So he brought not only the trust that we have, thank God, was there, but also so much experience. But just being on a set with him made everybody take it up a notch. And it was like being taken care of, being just working with him on the set.
Bob, we were talking while you were away, we were talking about getting into the emotional headspace of that scene where you and Brian have the conversation at the piano towards the end. How was that for you, getting into that? Because you've got a bit of anger you're playing there, a bit of betrayal.
Yes. First, let me say, I did not bring any bar up. Brian set the bar with the material, and we were all obliged to come up to it. And it was so delicate and meticulously crafted in terms of the drama that there could not be anything extraneous going on. You just really super had to play these very delicate beats. So Brian emotionally had the heavy lifting. I'm Brian's machination. I'm in his mind's eye. And what I was trying to this kind of ethereal, kind of be as attractive as possible, kind of otherworldly, very mild, because I'm in his memory. I'm his uh, projection, but the audience doesn't know that yet. And so watching Brian's character just go through these beats and this drama. I mean, it was really hard because, when you're acting, you're sitting there watching what's happened, but you're also in control of what you're doing. But it just makes it so much easier when you're playing opposite somebody who is so locked in. You know what I mean? Then it's not acting, it's just reacting to that person. And it just made everything easy for me. But again, Brian had the heavy lifting.
And I want to say too, Claire, that, I picked Bob up. I don't know if I picked you up from the airport or we were driving. Oh, we were driving to the costume fitting. He just came out from New York. We shot in LA. And he talked about how much he worked on the script. And like Bob was just saying, those delicate moments, he really put in the preparation. He knew where those moments lived. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he winged it or learned it the day before. And that really paid off for us.
We had very strict teachers in university. One does not wing.
There will be no winging.
There will be no winging. Yeah. But again, this is why I love working in the genre or the format of short films, because you have only so much time within which to convey properly what's being exercised in the drama by the playwright or the screenwriter. And I thought for my character and our work together, it was meticulous. And all I could do was just keep my fingers crossed and stay focused that we would, put. Martin Scorsese once said, the drama is like a pearl necklace. You just take one pearl and add it to the next one and the next one and the next one. These are the beats that make up the movie and make up the necklace. And that image is so in my head. Yeah. But and then again, you try different things while you're there. Maybe that's going to work. Maybe that's melodramatic. Maybe that's over the top. Maybe that's too underneath. And you look like, you're not compelling. You look like a piece of driftwood floating down the river. You never know. My mom would say, is it going to be a good film? And I'd say, Mom, we make the good ones. It's the same way as we make the bad ones.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, speaking of the pearls, doing a period piece involves a lot of different individual pearls in terms of set, costuming, and the score. It was a very 40s Hollywood score behind those moments as well. Any particular challenges or memorable bits of putting all that together?
Yes, our costume designer is Lisa Padovani, and we also went to college with her. She was in the film department at that time, and then she wound up getting into costumes, and she designed Boardwalk Empire.
Oh, wow.
And she also did Gotham, the TV show Gotham.
Oh.
So, you're just dealing with the best of the best with her. Plus, we're old friends. And I think I posted on it on social media when I was doing crowdfunding. And she asked me, she said, can I do the costumes? And I was like, yeah.
Nice.
Let me think about that for a minute, But, but she came out, we went to Western costumes, we did the fittings and all that. So you can just tell by looking at, the attention to detail from her was just, magnificent. And then, the house, I had our mutual friend, Liz Himmelstein. She's one of the top dialect coaches in the world. She does all these A-list movie stars, and she's a good friend of mine. And when she'd be out of town, I'd go to check on her house. And I would walk into her house, and the door opening into this old 1920s house of hers is actually how I got the visual idea of where to set it and where to start writing it. And she offered me her house to shoot, but then she was coaching Gal Gadot in Italy or something. I had to look for another location. So I did all the location scouting online on websites, and just had to find the right house, the right era, the right pool, and the office scene was in a mansion in Flint Ridge, La Cañada. So it was fun looking for the location. So that was a big part of it too.
Last question, because I've got to let you guys go, but you said you were hopefully going to be able to expand upon this into a broader format. For the time being, though, is there a place after this where people could access this film, this short, in terms of, rewatching what they've seen at the festival or recommending it to friends? Because I would anticipate there'll be a lot of that.
Not at this point. Thank you for asking. We're just at the beginning of the festival circuit. This wonderful festival happened to be our world debut, so world premiere. And then we're taking it to Mallorca this month.
Wonderful.
For the Evolution Mallorca International Film Festival. But we're just at the beginning of the year. So after the year is complete, then hopefully it'll be somewhere people can see it.
Well, please let us know. And particularly if these aspirations for it emerge and it becomes something bigger, please let us know. We'd like to pass that on to our viewers.
Thank you so much. We will.
Okay. Well, thank you both for your time. And thanks again for being here.
Thank you, Bob. Great to be with you here.
Brian, thank you. Claire, so
Claire.
nice to meet you. Thank you for giving us this time. And boy, what a labor of love this has been.
That's right.